Nation of Islam. And of course, Mr. Eddie Muhammad, also from the Nation of Islam, and former Father Cal alumni, or President Father Cal alumni. The other part of this is Father to Child is really a program dedicated to the well-being of children of African American descent. And for today, we have a brother that in his arms holds the most precious gift that the universe can offer. His name is Dominic, and his story kind of like traverses a bunch of challenges that's in this environment, but with the support of Father to Child and the resources that Mental Health America as well as the Urban League were able to surround him, I present to you Mr. Dominic and his son. Is it a boy? Hey, Mr. Dominic and his son. Stand up, Dominic. Because really that's what this is all about, and given the kind of issues that have been going on in Missouri, it resonates as why we are here today. One of the principal roles of a father is to protect his children. And that is a position that's non-negotiable. It's a position that our children depend upon us to discharge, and by whatever means necessary. Today, I think Father to Child is willing to make a commitment to doing whatever is needed to make sure that that child has the right to life, that no one gets to indiscriminately take away from them. So today, tonight, and white folks may say something, but that's all right, it's okay. Because this is a county-funded program, right? So really, the people that pay the bills for the people that participate in this program don't look like us. But I have this willingness to speak power to truth. And so, just for the day, we're going to talk about what it is to be a father in the 21st century, how we go about discharging that role of protecting our children so that they will not know the misfortune that occurred in Missouri. To frame this thing, I want to first talk about systems theory. And I'm going to use these words, and you go to their schools and they teach you all these different abstracts, but really we know the stuff on another level like the back of our hand. We just don't use the language that they use. So this thing about systems theory is a way of putting parts together to create something that has inputs, outputs, throughputs, that create feedback to determine whether or not that system is working. We've talked about this once before. And if we bring this down on a social model, the African American experience in the United States has been one that has been characterized by a willingness to subject black males to the most horrific kinds of challenges that the environment has to offer. Today, we don't have to guess about what that system is about. We don't have to wonder about what that system is going to do. If, in fact, we as black men decide to be men and challenge the prevailing status quo, it's clear what the response is. That death is going to be the outcome of any circumstance where, as a man, you try to discharge that role and securing the well-being of your people, your person, yourself. So If the input in a system if the inputs into a system are Black Americans, especially males, and they are processed through a system of throughputs, the end product that will come off that assembly line, the impact that that will have, the outcome that will be rendered, will be one of compliance. And if compliance is not rendered, the pushback will be with prejudice. And in the case of this brother in Ferguson death, how does that sound to y'all? That is this anything new? Is anybody here not on point with what this system here in this country is really trying to tell us as men of color, especially Black men of color, about our responses to the system? Is there, I'm 62, when I was growing up as a little boy, everybody knew who the enemy was. And somewhere between now and then, we have forgotten that we are in an environment that is hostile to us. And subsequently have begun to become complacent about what it is to be a Black male in this particular environment. We got a wake-up call last week. Clear, unremitting, that says that you will continue to fall into this compliance mode. Wait, hold up, I'm using the wrong word. You will say yes, sir, boss, or something bad gonna happen to you. How that sound to you, Andre?
Not good.
How that sound to you, Darren?
I ain't feeling that.
What about you, Ron?
Not good.
What about you, Neanda?
Can't deal with it.
My brother, how that sound to you, man?
Don't sound right.
Okay. And especially to you, Dominic, how does it sound that you have to teach your son to be less than a man in order to secure his well-being? How does it sound, my brother?
No good.
And to the rest of the audience out there, how does that sound that I have to be less than in order to secure just my basic right? And if that's the way this is going, is it going to change? The nature of systems is not to change. So the nature of the people that set this up, their system, is not trying to change. No matter what it looked like, it is always trying to reconfigure itself to return back to balance. So if systems won't change, yes, it change, but change is inevitable. Change is inevitable. So if systems won't change, what got to change? The inputs. It is here where change occurs. Not the system, but we ourselves. We wear a t-shirt that says a man on my word. We said we wear a t-shirt where we honor father to child. If a father in this country can't protect his child's life, what is then his value to anyone else in this society?
You don't have one. You don't have
Pretty
one.
much.
Not even for himself.
And the only people that's going to change this are the men in this room. How the old Black Panther back in the day. And I'm from Oakland, California. The thing that made Huey and Bobby and those boys something the community looked to for guidance with their willingness to confront power. What galvanized the support, and you can find this stuff on YouTube, is that they were willing to go clack clack when confronted with force. So I say to us today, it's not about what we're willing to live for. It's about what we're willing to die for. I say today that Malcolm always knew there is no one in the history of mankind that has ever gotten free begging somebody to free them. What's the nature of a system?
Not to change.
And that ain't changing. Patrick Henry wrote around, Patrick Henry said to these people when they broke away from England, give me liberty or give me death. Paul Revere right around the country talking about the British is coming. Who's riding in the neighborhood for us today? Where is that voice in the wilderness saying, give me liberty or give me death? Now I know people gonna say, well man, you're talking about suicide. We as a minority. We are a minority. So were the people that were in bondage to Egypt, whatever you want to call them. I ain't gonna go there. But somebody told them, go there in spite of the God and speak truth to power. I'm not there, I'm pretty much a secular kind of guy, but the Christians that were martyred by the Romans, they were told that you will either renounce your faith or we will kill you. They said, well, bring on the goddamn lion. What are we willing to stand for today as a group of people? What are we willing to put our hats on that says there's a line in the sand and we ain't going there for? And until that conversation is had, until we make that declaration, they keep serving us fried ice cream. They'll keep using the divide and conquer themes that they have used to keep us operating against our own self-interest. And we have something that you don't need a book, you have something that you don't need any evidence other than what you see. We have something that bonds us together called net melanin. That is irrefutable. Because if they get that boy in Ferguson, Missouri last week, who do you think they get tomorrow? Baldwin said if they come for you tonight, they'll be here in the morning for me. And how can men, okay, what are the people looking at us talking about? What are our children looking at? What are our women looking at if we continue to capitulate to this system?
Weakness.
What'd you say?
Weakness.
Okay. All right. There could be a lot of different perceptions people get, but the idea is that the picture that others see of us, until we are willing to change the way this thing is constructed, is not the picture that I would want to project for others to see. And no one gets to determine that for us, but us, right here, right now. So I appeal to everyone here. We have a wonderful opportunity. The Chinese character for Christ incorporates danger and opportunity. Yes, the environment is dangerous, but it also provides us an opportunity to redefine the way we move in the 21st century so the children that we leave a legacy for will have something that they can honor and live up to. How many of you guys feel me? How many people see the logic of what I just said? How many people can see
Absolutely.
this?
Without question. I mean,
I mean, they almost have it where we are afraid to say what's really going on.
When you say that, it's scary to have a buddy like that. You know, it's your partner.
And when you make this declaration, don't get it twisted. Third law of physics. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. That's the third law of physics. If we take this stand, do we place ourselves in harm's way?
Of course. If you stay compliant, you can still die. So unfortunately, ultimately, we have to fight or die. It doesn't really make a choice if you're compliant or if you fight back. I, one, believe the solution is uniting and putting all differences aside and defending our communities and working together to defend the communities. That makes more sense than marching, protesting, or going out there with anything. Get in the communities, work together, stop going to school, you gotta go forward in our communities. We gotta work together. Ultimately, we're not, like you said, we're not each other's enemies, we're brothers, because they killed our uncles, our grandmothers, our kids, our mothers, our sisters, everybody 400 years, and they've still been doing that now and every day right now. So, and it's happening all over the world. It's not here in America. It's happening all over the world. So,
We have an opportunity to put this unity piece in play. Today, there are two organizations that have married themselves together. Mental Health America and the Urban League of San Diego. Those two organizations have married to create a stronger front so that we can bring to this community the resources, the kinds of educational opportunities that are needed in order to advance ourselves. I submit to everyone here that now is the time for us to do as this young brother said, and give to something that we can call our own the opportunity to represent us when it comes time for this pushback. And there are no big I's and little U's. We all in it together. We'll either come together or we will race to oblivion. We will either come together or we will die. And what sadder legacy to leave to our children. So there are two entities in this town that have pledged to work in a cooperative, authentic way to ensure that the community has the resources necessary for its survival. We're going to have to get past, necessity is the mother of invention. My son doesn't like to eat certain kinds of food, but if he get hungry enough, guess what he's going to do?
You're gonna eat. So he's doing the penitentiary.
There are a lot of us out here in this community that have our own agendas, but man, if we do not be able to see past our own self-interest, man, there is certain demise that's out there waiting for. I love Farrakhan. I understand this man's economic agenda. But when I look at him, guess who I see? I see myself. Brother Eddie, when I look at you, I see me. And because of that, man, there's nothing that I'm willing to keep between us that serves as a schism. Nothing. And it's the old, that's Machiavelli, okay? And that's another subject, Machiavelli. Machiavelli is about how power keeps power. And it doesn't do it because it's right or wrong, it's fair or unfair. It does it because it can. Divide and conquer is his primary strategy. Now this is something some Italian dude back in the 17th century come up with. And I'm not going to go through all the dynamics. Read the book called The Prince. But if you divide people, they will never be able to operate in their self-interest. Lincoln didn't free the slaves. He kept the Union intact. The war was fought to keep the South from succeeding from the North. The Gettysburg Address, a nation divided against itself cannot stand. That's what the war was about. Well, if that's true, that division will create weakness, and a nation cannot stand divided, do black men of color need to be united.
Yes.
Yes.
And I don't care what you're claiming. If it ain't black unity, it must be black disunity.
Come on now.
Now, I'm not saying, I'm 62, my life over with, man. I don't have a goddamn, what I ain't done ain't gonna get done. And really, the leadership can't come from people like me. It's gotta come from you. It's gotta come from this brother here. It's gotta come from this brother here. I done got 2 old men, all I can do is get in that sniper position, okay? That's all I can do. I can't get out there and I can't go muscle to muscle no more. But it's the youth where the leadership has to be created so that this energy doesn't dissipate. It's Neanda, it's Joseph, it's this brother. Us elders, though, need to let them know we got their back. We need to move into a position of supporting them so they can insulate the rest of the group away from the horrors that are waiting out there for us. Marching ain't gonna do a goddamn thing. Having a candlelight vigil in some way is ludicrous. You're almost sanctioning what's happening. Okay, we'll go have a candlelight. Until we can begin to operate collectively as a group, they laugh and grin at us all the way to the back. So I'm opening this up for feedback. This is an opportunity for us to really bridge to each other. It's an opportunity to begin to really stop talking about it, but actively get involved. And you gotta put some skin in the game. The talk, we great talkers. But if you ain't willing to put something into it, it don't mean nothing. If you're not willing to put your money where your mouth is, all you're doing is just fat mouth. We have to get past this place to where deprivation is driving everything we do. If I don't have anything, and we don't have nothing, there ain't no need of, the joke ain't on them, it's on us. We don't have nothing. And so people that don't have nothing will grab at the first thing in front of them. The other part of this is that there are going to be people that look like me that ain't going to be about black unity. And I know I'm going to get a whole bunch of flack from this. But I'm willing to take the stand and draw that line in the sand because
It's 7 o'clock.
the very well-being of our people are at risk here. And if getting killed in broad daylight and laying in the street for hours isn't what the Romans did when they conquered a group of people, if it isn't what the Vikings did when they conquered a group of people, they left a mark, their calling card, so others would not have the capacity or the willingness to do something about it. It's called terrorism. That's what it's called. Because it's telling each and every one of them, if you get out of line, this is what we got for you. It's the Willie Lynch syndrome. It's the whole thing about classical conditioning, operant conditioning, systems theory, it's random sampling theory. It's all that stuff rolled up into a stew that is kind of hard for us to swallow. All right, thank y'all. Let's open up.
And say when I started, just being more positive than just hang on the streets, trying to sell drugs or whatever and stuff like that. And just my mind has got deeper on a different level of life. And as I got older, I started seeing stuff like the gangbanging thing, blue and red. Why were we killing ourselves for blue and red? What was that about? So I started thinking deeper than that. I was like, That's the same thing that Ku Klux Klan just did on black people, just another gang, basically. And we just doing it, repeating the same thing. And well, we killing ourselves off. And like, that was kind of dumb.
This is a valid question, man. Why is it that we as black men are not seen as being equal to the mainstream or dominant culture?
Ultimately, we're superior. And not to say that in a disrespectful manner, but in the essence that we're the original people from the earth. That like everything spawned from the original black people, and ultimately, story says, and I'm not saying this is fact, but everybody that has a different tone obviously came from black people. And particular people were created at a certain time. It's been proven to say that Caucasian people have only been here for 6,000 years. And supposedly they came from caves, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not sure exactly how the story goes, but ultimately they were in a place where they were inferior, in a position where they wanted things and they wanted to get out. Obviously, supposedly, we as Africans or people on this earth had wealth and understanding and knowledge that other people didn't have. And I believe, like we said, we tried to share it, and some people just wanted it all for themselves, and they didn't want to accept certain tasks, or didn't want to try to learn the way that we wanted to instill it into them. Ultimately, that's where it was reversed. Everything that we have learned and all the spirits, all the stuff is being blocked. All the real spirituality is being blocked from radio waves and television, and a lot of stuff is really being blocked from airwaves. And this is like not even ridiculous. It's because it's sitting over the top of everybody.
Thank you, my brother. But going back to his question, my brother asked a question, why are we in this system not seen as equal?
It's not designed that way.
It's not.
It's not, okay, now you're moving in the direction, it's not designed that way, and where is that framework at where it's not designed that way? What document was this country founded on where we're clearly delineated as having values?
It's called the Constitution.
Of course, it's called the U.S. Constitution, and what were people of color, what was the humanity they assigned to us?
We were looked at as cattle, so.
Probably.
Wasn't even looked at as a
Thank
man.
you. Say it again, my brother.
3/5
It's in the goddamn Constitution. 3/5 human. It's not a secret. The founding fathers gave us, assigned us a value. So do you think a fool that see you as 3/5 of him is going to treat you like you his equal? Yes, sir.
If you don't mind, if I go a little bit further back, they wrote 3/5 of a human in the Constitution, but we got to take it back further than that. If we look in medieval Europe, where they were doing all these cruel and evil things that they eventually did to us, to their own people, that's how they did things in their life. Now, when they expanded out, started the slave trade, they started with their own people and other people. They were rounding up everybody they could find. It didn't matter who it was. But it became more beneficial to hold power together and to hold the system of slavery that they had in this country to make it color-based. So what they did was they tricked their own people into thinking they were superior. They brainwashed their own people at the same time that they brainwashed us that we were inferior. They did that because it created a system. So it was, in a way, an economic thing. See what I mean? This thing, it's not only is it hatred that they created and vitriol that they created in people and us for our own people, it's a business thing at the same time. It's about money. It's about money, and not necessarily money, but power.
Their way to drive an economic narrative. And if it is about money, and truly it is, it translates into advantage by having more options. And how you transfer wealth in this country has always been from family to family, right? So if that's what they got, an advantage, an economic advantage, then it automatically gave us an economic disadvantage. And like they transfer wealth from generation to generation, guess what we transfer? Using the same logic. The logic is consistent. Follow it all the way through, but you got to go forward and reverse. If they create an advantage for themselves, an economic advantage, then by definition they've created an economic disadvantage for us. They transfer wealth from generation to generation. It's called white privilege. We transfer disadvantage from generation to generation. How do you change the disadvantage?
That's a,
No, it ain't simple. You refuse to accept less. There's a school to prison pipeline. Yeah, show me a man that can't take care of his family, and it won't be long before he be, let us say, in inappropriate behavior. And if you won't allow me to compete in your economic system, I'll create my own, even if it look like selling dope to my own people. You feel me? You don't get nothing back. What did Malcolm say we gotta be willing to do?
Take it by
Take
force.
it, man. Ain't nobody gonna give you a goddamn thing. We keep asking the very person that's taken to give it. How do that sound?
Right?
We keep saying, oh, system, will you please treat us fair? How do you ask that of someone that's designed the system to treat you unfair? We keep asking the question, how we gonna do this? And the only way to do it, Nike make $1 billion off of branding. Just do it. Just do it. Just link arms together and say, my brother, I got your back. And whatever you doing, I'm supporting that. It don't have to be what I want to do right now. If it operates for the benefit of the group, man, I'm obligated spiritually, morally, and culturally to back your plight.
That's the key right there.
It don't have
benefits.
to benefit me in the moment. If in fact Farrakhan can set an economic agenda that will help all black people in this country, we are almost obligated to follow it. And I don't care whether you're Muslim, Christian, Jew, it don't make me no different. Because if you ain't part of the solution, you're part of the problem. And that's the way you get it back. Because game recognized game. Pretty much game recognized game. So if you're too weak to get it, guess what I'm going to tell you? Shame on you.
Shame on you.
If you're too weak to come together, guess what I'm going to tell you? Because game recognized game. There isn't but one solution. There are multiple ways of putting it in play. But the bottom line is we as men of color have to unite around something. I got to be willing to teach my kid that up under no circumstance can he bring harm to you. And you have to be willing to teach your child up under no circumstance do you harm yourself. And when I see you, there's an old African proverb. Until I acknowledge you, there is no me. Until I see you, I can't exist. Here we could talk about all the mysticism and man, until we could put it in play and the reality of right now, they're just words. And they ring very hollow to our children who see us. If you cannot practice what you preach, you represent something that is inauthentic to them. And they see the world not as it is, but as it should be. And we could talk that talk about walking this walk. We could talk it, but they watching to see if we actually doing it. And the moment they see that we are inauthentic, man, they might as well go out and do their own thing. And that could turn out any kind of way. Man, my heart, father the child, look at the brothers over there. Look at the nation. Let's give him a hand, man. It is an honor. Because I'm with y'all, man.
It's an honor for you all to allow us to come.
Man, I'm with y'all. I know that we are the same, man. And everyone around this room, man, that y'all done been with me for a while, you know that my word is my bond. I don't care who, what, or where, a brother that means well for the community, I'm with him. Of course, there's a lot of Negroes out here. There's a lot of infiltrators out here. There's a lot of people that are doing double duty. And we need to be able to shake it up so the whole community know who they are. Because I told my brother Darren, I'm going to come out, I'm taking the gloves off. I'm coming off. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to get butt naked. Okay, and I already know what's going to happen. Because this thing follows, I wish y'all could get closer to this board.
You ain't gonna be alone. I'm gonna be there with you. So, you know. So I'm gonna leave you out there by yourself.
These white folks are cold piece, man. But it ain't personal. They play it by numbers. It ain't personal. We got to get around this whole personality stuff. It's a numbers game. It's called random sampling theory. Now, these fools send this boy to college to get an education. And see, I already got the game. The Spook Who Sat by the Door, y'all see that movie? You go there, get all the game, and then bring it back to the community, right?
Read the book is better.
Yeah, I got a book.
I ain't mad at you, but I saw the movie. That's what I can report on. Okay, and I like his play. Yeah, I like the play. The concept is gain all the, man, we hear it all. You keep your friends close, but where you keep your enemy?
Close.
Man, you gotta learn everything there is about how this system operates. Only then will you have the tools, skills necessary to operate in yourself. It's random sampling theory. Statisticians use this stuff. Accountants use this stuff. This is what they taught me in school, is that they just accidentally found this out. Nobody knows why this works. They just know it works. I say, man, that show is, that's a cold piece right there. They stumbled up on. Random sampling theory creates an opportunity. Have y'all ever wondered how they can tell who's going to win the election before they count all the votes? Have you ever wondered how you go to the store like me? I go to the store, man. If I go to the store, I can't get no pants that's going to fit me. Oh, I can get them that fit me in the waist, but guess what they're going to be? They're going to be too long. All that stuff is designed based upon an economic system like this brother is saying. Because if I want to have a big set, I want to sell to the most people as possible. So I need to know what the average looks like. And that's where random sampling theory comes. They can operate based upon this thing called a curve. Back in the day, they called it a bell-shaped curve. Today, it's just a curve. Inside this curve is an average. If you want to commercialize something, you need to be able to sell to the average, to the majority, to most people. You guys are here by, they say, this is this, we think this, based upon standard deviation 1, there's standard deviation 3. They throw in ilk into the game. But there's an average shoe size, there's an average hat size, there's an average dress size. Random sampling theory, that it creates averages. You begin to understand why racial profiling occurs. You begin to understand why economic disadvantage keeps getting extended. Matter of fact, if you take two parallel lines, there will be no distance that increases. But if you set off trajectories that are different, the gap will widen. That's why the income inequality is widening, even though we supposedly got more going for ourselves today. So let them tell it. If you get outside of this thing, you put yourself as an extraordinary or exceptional person. Well, let's take a look at exceptional people. What was Muhammad? Was he normal, average, or was he exceptional? Talking to my brothers out there. What was Buddha? Was he The average dude, or was he exceptional?
Exceptional.
Or was Christ? Was he one of the average dudes, or was he exceptional?
Exception.
Or was Malcolm? Was he one of these average dudes, or was he exceptional? Okay. Y'all get my picture here? Where are all these people at, man?
Dead.
Okay. And I can keep going down the list, making me a list, and all them people dead. Of course, this is the positive side, right? I put this on the positive side. Who are these people for, man?
The people.
Man, they for the people. They for the people. Just hold on a second. But we walking. Because just like there's a 1% on this side of the curve, there's a 1% on this side of the
The
curve.
negative side.
We're gonna put Hitler over there.
Put him over there, along with Mussolini.
Mussolini, okay.
Stallings.
Mussolini.
That's cool.
Stalin, Stalin. Who else we want to put over there?
Ronald Reagan.
Ronald Reagan, okay. Okay. Al Capone, we put him over there too. Okay. What did happen to most of these people, man?
They
They
did
did
too.
too.
Oh, okay.
Except for one.
Okay, yeah, okay, still living, okay. Okay. Who these people for, man?
Themselves.
Okay. All right. Okay. Here's the kicker. These extraordinary people, these exceptional people, Elijah, Farrakhan, have the capacity through their force of personality and their truth that they're willing to speak the power. They have the capacity to move the average Joe in their direction. So if one of these people come here and move the average to their position, or one of these people come on board and move the average people to their position, what's happening to this?
It's
The
gonna
curve is
change.
moving. Guess who is benefiting from the curve? The system. Whoever controls the average person,
Controls the system.
man. If you see yourself as extraordinary, exceptional, guess what's coming to pay you a visit?
The system. The system.
The people who control it.
Because you have the capacity to change the whole get down. So here's the move. Here come Machiavelli riding on his horse. The first thing the system coming at you with, guess what it is?
Money.
Can I buy you? Of course, these people here, because they believe in something. They believe in something. And it has no price tag associated with it. Of course, these people here, they so greedy, it's all about them to begin with.
All is based on
Okay.
power, if they can get it.
And if you don't go, so that's the number one too. If you don't go for the bayou, guess what they bring to you?
Discredit.
Man, you remember my lesson. Yes. Then they try to discredit you. Like they did with Elijah, like they did with Muhammad, like Muhammad Ali. Anybody that stood for something on principle, if they can't buy them, they will try to discredit them. They're attempting to get the public opinion away from you. They're attempting to keep the masses from following you. And if this fails, the buy and the discredit, guess what the third option is?
Kill you.
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
So these people, when Martin was saying, I have a dream and, you know, I want to live long and living long is okay for most people, he couldn't be bought. They couldn't discredit him. Did the FBI try to discredit him?
They did.
And it didn't work, so
And they killed him.
this is the way the game goes.
That's the way it game goes.
This is systems theory. This is Machiavelli. This is how to keep power. What do right and wrong got to do with this? What do you think right and wrong got to do with this?
Damn thing.
It got nothing to do with it. It's about maintaining an advantage. And on the real deal, if I had the biggest sack, you think I'm gonna let you come in with your little crew and take my ends? You think I'm gonna do that? Okay, so don't hate the player. Hate the game. We got to learn and understand this stuff. We not gonna get nothing from them by asking. Guess how we gotta get it?
Take it.
Like taking force.
Demand
And how do we get there? Steady squabbling with each other. How do we get there? Squabbling with each other. It's the divide and conquer. It's Machiavelli. I put on Facebook, finally people will look at the elephant in the room. Finally. This boy's death in Missouri has caused people all over this country to realize our lives as black men ain't worth a plug of liquid if we get out of line. My question to all these brothers, and this ain't just happening here in San Diego, man. This conversation is being had all across this nation right now. For a minute, we got a wake-up call. Nigga, your life ain't worth 2 cents, you get out of line. And guess who's watching us?
The kids.
Our very children and wives and women. And if a brother won't take a stand now, why should any of our people back up for it? We've been hiding up under their skirt tails for too long. Just for the day, are you willing to be a man of your word? Are you willing to be a man of your word?
Yes.
I hear you. Some of us gonna perish. Do you know that? Some of us ain't gonna be around. What do you think about this, Brother Muhammad? David?
I think that well, you're absolutely correct, right? And it's as simple as this right here. Everybody think of a number from 1 to 10. So, add 5 to that number. Add 2 more. Subtract the number you started with. The number you got left, multiply times 2. You're thinking of 14. Right. So we think of 14 because everybody may start with a different number. Once I get your mind going in a certain direction, I know what your outcome is going to be. And that's what brothers telling us right here. Once they get us thinking in a certain direction, they know what the outcome is going to be. So they know if they get us with the tricks and the traps, the glitter, they know what the outcome is going to be. As that gap widens, between the haves and the have-nots. The have-nots want to just, scramble for anything. So people don't understand the nature of Islam and how we particularly protest. The most time Muhammad teaches to protest like this. He says somebody's in your community selling bad food, You don't get a picket sign and stand in front of their door, tell them, trying to shut them down. No, go to the store next to them, sell good food. See, that's our theory, right? We come outside of the system. See, the people that's willing to stand with Farrakhan, most of us are rebels, have been rebels, right? It's just that the minister has been able to refine us with faith. So we stand outside the system. But we're willing to go the extra mile. We're willing to stand on the front line for our people. A lot of people don't realize that. They don't know it. They don't see it like that. Yeah, we're on the front line. Yes, sir. And this theory is absolutely correct. It's absolutely correct. We can reverse the effects of what's happening to us if we can work in unity. If we can drop the schisms, the labels. Because this country is not just about, look at that flag right there, red, white, and blue. The flag right there, you know what that blue stands for? You look up in the sky, it looks blue. That's ether. It gives the appearance of blue, but it's not blue.
Okay.
But each one of those stars represent justice, right? So this country is set up to give the appearance of justice, right? But it's not just for everybody. The justice is for the healthy and the wealthy. It's not for the poor. So it don't matter what color you are, poor, black, white, yellow, brown, it doesn't matter. This system is set up for the rich, the healthy, and the wealthy, not for the poor.
That's good. See, because what's happening is when there's silence is the loudest noise in the universe. When it gets silent up in here, people are reflecting on what just been shot up in them. It's like a medicine. And it, you know, y'all seen the Matrix, it get the joint up in you, and it take a while to digest that stuff. Tayari, here's another brother. I love this brother. He has a radio station, KKSD. I support him. I give him my support. What do you think about what you've heard, Tayari?
I have mixed emotions. I apologize. I worked 4 years for San Diego Police Department. I wasn't the spook who sat behind the door. I worked 42 years in radio, the same spook who sat behind broadcasting. Mr. Wooten and I have had conversations that go late into the night about, since the 1970s, I've seen 8 different African Americans try to put black stations in this town, and all failed. Chuck Johnson, Curtis Minifield, Willie Morrow, Gloria and Travis Downs, station after station after station. Thing that I learned the most was, we didn't reach back and grab as many of these brothers and sisters in here that we see right now and teach them why they need to have a voice in the media. And we ended up losing our voice. So, you're on point. You're on point. You're on point. My father died and I was 13. And the last thing he said to me was, he who controls a frequency controls a generation. I believed in that.
My other brother, my brother, what do you think about what you've heard, my brother? I forgot, forgive me, I forgot
Charlie
your
Brown?
name. But
Charles Brown.
both of you brothers, I would love to get some feedback from. You know, I know Mr. Alexander, but it was the other brother that I couldn't think of his name.
Brother Charles.
Brother Charles.
Wow.
Okay.
I knew him since he was.
Brother went with me. I was born and raised in San Diego. I went to the University of Utah. Talk about school. My father loved to death. He mentored me, told me how to get out of the system, in a way. We've all been taught, go to school to get a what?
Good job.
Get a job with benefits. Been there, done that. Still a black man. Yeah. So,
Imagine that.
we have to separate ourselves from the system. And really, I have 3 little boys. And I began to become first. So we gotta come together and do what we need to do. Because I don't see how anybody can see your son laying in the street and not retaliate. That's just how I am. I grew up banging. So we got some young ones out here that don't want to go into banging. We gotta bang in the right way. Gotta bang in the right way together against the open end.
What's going, and I'm banging with you, bro. I got your back, okay? My brother, your voice is huge, man. I have a great deal of love and respect for you. What have you heard this evening, man? And help us shape how we move forward in the future.
Well, I really, is what Brother David said is right, you know, on path. But we was talking today about a lot of great men that done came to the city, man. And, you know, they just they put dents in the pavement for us, man. And it's like we dropped the ball somewhere along the way. And when the ball got picked up, man, we didn't pass it to the right players. And you know, you got a lot of young men that's looking at how we interacting with one another. You know, how everybody fighting for this grant money. You know, and they knocking us off, man. You know, we got 4 organizations that done lost money in just the 4th district. By every football field, you got over 300 of our youth, of our young black men that's on the football field being trained for sports. But it's a lot of us that should be out there on that football field training them right here. And if you want to be able to deal with them families, the football fields, man, because you got the mothers, you got 90% of the females out there, single mothers. And they taking them to the football fields because that's the only thing they got to a black man that can grab their son and give them what they can't give them at home. So I think us as black men really need to start training our youth right now, because we invested in I'm not gonna say we invested in a lost generation, but we invested in some people that don't want to change right now, and they're not gonna change until they see us change. And right now, a lot of us don't want to change, so we got to start dealing with our youth, and we got to put that big investment in them. Like right now, not to take nothing from nobody on that panel, but you should have some young brothers in junior high school and in high school at that table right now, because they the ones that can tell us what's gonna keep them from going into gangs. You know what's gonna keep them attracted to school and in church or the mosque versus a lowrider and whatever else that they got that's being attracted. You know, we need to have them at the table, because every community is different and every community has a different need. And the only ones that know them needs is the ones that's out there. And that's our babies. So
That's right.
We need to go to them. So wait for them to come to us.
Yes, sir.
That's what I think. We need to go to them, start setting up stuff at schools. You know what I mean? That's what I want to do. I want to start talking to my youth. That was the thing I said to Darren, I said to you on Arnold when I met him. That was one of the things I wanted to do.
Yes, yes.
So all that's gonna start taking place.
This is what I propose. You're right, the funding for the Fourth District has been severely restricted. The Urban League has gotten some money from Workforce Partnership. Mental Health America got its contract renewed. I'm willing to put my life and bet those two organizations. Okay? I'm willing to say that the leadership of the Urban League, San Diego Urban League, Mr. Ray King, and Daphne Watson, the Executive Director of Mental Health America, I'm willing to put my life on the line that they are truly, genuinely interested in this community. And they have cobbled together some resources. And Mental Health America and the Urban League, I'm gonna keep it real with you, they're going after that My Brother Keeper money, okay? There's a lot of dynamics around that money that people are not, I don't know if they're fully aware of. One, about 10 private foundation organizations, they're the one that have pledged that money. California Endowment is one of those groups, okay? And they're only gonna give the money to organizations, the way the initiative is written, you gotta have 45 affiliates across the country, okay? Well, how many black organizations got 45 affiliates across the country? Not a many. The Urban League is one, Mental Health America is one, but Mental Health America ain't one of no black organization, okay? But it's run by a black person, okay? And Father the Child, if you look at the T-shirt, it got a TM on it, okay? That's been trademarked. Those two organizations, though, have the beginning of an authentic partnership that those endowment, California Endowment, can kind of reject, okay? Is two big organizations enough? No. It needs more organizations. So I appeal to the nation, man, come have a talk with these people, man. You can get to them through me. I already feel it. You could get to them to me, and we're not going to have that hassle. We're not going to have that conversation about, you know, you getting too much and I ain't getting. Man, that money shot is not the conversation. We got to get the money before we can cut the money up, right? Before you can sell the dope, you got to cut it up, right? Okay, I'm sorry. Listen, man, this is where this unity comes from trust. Trust comes from experience. If I keep slapping you upside the head, why would you trust me? The only way to build trust is like a bank account. You got to put some in, not take out. So the conversation can't be about what's being taken out. Now, do we have the emotional stability to be able to have these kinds of conversations? That's the question. I submit, based upon what has happened over the last week, if you ain't ready now, you ain't gonna never be ready. But along with the nation, I'm trying to bring in 100 strong, and everybody ain't welcome to the party, you feel me?
That's right, just make that clear.
Man, I'm trying to keep it 100 with y'all. I'm saying I'm coming out butt naked today. Everybody don't mean the community no good. There's a lot of poverty pimping going on. I need people that's willing to call a spade, man. I'm willing. Mario done jumped out there butt naked. Do you know Mario done put himself out there? Mario has taken a leap based upon telling truth to power, and he done put some way out stuff out there. Guess where Mario is now? He's outside the curve. What's the system's response when you get outside the curve? They come to have a visit with you. Somebody tell me the FBI want to give somebody some donation. Man, what kind of conversation is that? How the FBI get thrown up in here? I trust the nation, okay? If you give me your word, I trust you. I understand you hold things accountable. Let me get, okay, they gonna fire my ass, but it's okay.
Got another job, brother.
In order to build something, this is what these white folks done taught me in school. In order to build an effective, sustainable organization, you need a political piece. You need an economic piece. If we can't give our young people jobs, we just selling wolf tickets. And we can't show the willingness to build the infrastructure of sustainability so our children can see the pot at the end of the rainbow. We're just selling a wolf ticket. So you need an economic apparatus. You need a policy mechanism. Systems are built upon rules. Policy dictates what the rules are. You get to change the rules. So we need a policy piece. And it ain't enough of me to be able to wear all those hats. Then you need a community piece. If the community can't see the value of an organization, its intended well-being for the community, then why should the community buy in? And we can't get sisters and children out there in the community to see that their self-interest can be met by an organization. Why should they buy in? That's what we have to build. That's why we must be able to come together. Because there's something you do that I can't do, and there's something I do that you can't do. I transfer information. I can take these people's concept, their information that they teach in these highfalutin universities, and I break it down right to the ghetto where a kid 5 years old can understand. They need to teach this stuff in the 3rd and 4th grade. So our young children know how to navigate this hostile environment. Why should I have to wait till I go to graduate school to learn this stuff? I ain't gonna go on that because there's some of us teaching our kids nothing that they can use to help increase their well-being. If I've been doing something, and this is the condition of me being, after having been done now, man, I used to gamble and hustle in the street. You don't get to beat me the same way all the time. You may continue to beat me, but you're gonna have to try another way. Because I ain't gonna keep losing the same way all the time. Now, you don't have to be smart to understand that. If you got loaded dice and you keep winning my money, man, I'm going to the store and buy me my own dice. I'm not gonna keep losing the same way. Well, we've been using some strategies and look where we are. It look like we still losing. So try something different. Now, we got 2 brothers here today, man. Y'all don't know how much joy is in my heart. 2, and I got one young brother that remind me of me. He ready to get down. He ready to go head on and get on the plank and walk.
We got 3 brothers.
And there's another brother. Yes, sir.
Strong.
All right. We got people. This thing is growing. The nation's showing up like, I know y'all do something on Monday, man. So I am awful grateful that you took the time to, because I know you have your own schedule, But at some point, I don't care how we do it, we got to merge this. Because I can't do this by myself. Do you understand me? And y'all got to have a connection to the secular world. Y'all got to.
That's right.
Because at the end of the day, we all in this together. So I appeal to you, man. Let us make it happen.
Yes, sir.
Let's make it happen. Let's put it in writing. A formal relationship. Come into the house. Come into the Mental Health America Urban League house. Come on into it. The money, if we do this right, there'll be enough money for everyone. They say if you build it, they will come. If we build it, the creator gonna look out for us. And it ain't nothing we're gonna be able to ask for. We'll be able to step to the table and say, this is our issue, come on with it. Unless we can do that, they'll continue to look at us like we're a piece of manure. Okay. The sisters out there, they begging for it. Yeah, man, these sisters don't want to be buck wild like they buck wild. But look at the men that they looking at. They act more like them than they do. They looking for somebody to take care of them. When did that become part of the game? When is it the part of the game where men look for, and now they got real twisted. Men look for men to take care of them.
Wow.
It done got real twisted. And they get mad. And who's selling this? Who is really selling this? The media.
Their frequencies, whoever.
The frequencies. Whoever got control of the media got control over your mind. They'll have you thinking fried ice cream tastes real good. They'll have you thinking there's another thing called institutional rational choice.
Go ahead. Power suggestion to the mind.
Man, y'all don't know how these people so cold-blooded, they think of shit. Institutional rational choice. How to make you go up in you without no Vaseline. I'm saying so.
That's true, though. That's very true.
Oh, they call it institutional rational choice. But it's being served, bro. It's being served. And we get into the position. That's what's cold-blooded. And then have the audacity to say, somebody ought to do something. Get off your knees. If you're in a puddle, if you're in mud, it doesn't rain, and you're in a puddle of water, the African proverb say, just get up. Just stand up. That's all you have to do. Wow. So, so glad it's 8 o'clock. Normally we go from 6 to 8. I am so glad for the new people that came. Will you continue to come back?
I'll be there, brother.
Will you continue to come back? Will you continue to come back? I have T-shirts for you guys. They white outside the black ones. I can. But Mr. Alexander, in that box is 3 T-shirts. And for my Muslim brothers, you are welcome to a T-shirt to commemorate this historic moment, because this is a historic moment. And whatever, does anybody in the group want a Muhammad speaks?
Oh, Mr. Gunner, they free. Well, we come tonight, they free.
You sure? Because this is another thing. And I'm not playing that game. I want everybody to know the real deal, just as soon as these T-shirts come out. Until we honor each other by being willing to pay for those services, then we are really devaluing the very thing that we say has value to us. So if, in fact, and the door swing both ways. If I truly respect you, value you, automatically I should be willing to compensate you. Now that means that I may not be able to give you what you think you're worth, but I certainly should be able to make an act of generosity towards what I perceive as having value. So I'm going to buy my group your papers because I value you. I may not even read the paper, but I value you. Of course, that door swings the other way. Don't come at me talking about something for nothing, because then you become part of the problem. I'm telling you how it's going. And I may get shot tonight, but this is the way it's going down. So, any of my people want a paper? One. How many? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Man, come on with it. Give me the 8 papers, man. Yeah, give me 8 papers. But the other side, when I come to you, don't even think about it. Break bread, bro. Otherwise, you invalidate the very thing that we're talking about.
That's right.
And I know how to really, see, I've been buying Negroes ever since I was 13 years old. I know the real way to separate the chaff from the wheat. Yeah, go in your pocket. There are people that talk, but they ain't gonna walk that walk. We will know who's really real by what they're willing to. Y'all remember Glory? Denzel Washington, Morgan Freeman. Yeah. Morgan telling him, man, it's time to ante up. We gotta ante up.